coming in hot, Chasey. Let's get it, brother. What's going on, man?
Let's fire it up today. Hey, so I got a question. I'm going to throw this at you. I didn't say this to you before the show. What was your walk-up song when you played?
Even flow, thoughts are run like butterflies.
Okay, if you played now.
Hey, one more. I had, can you take me high? I don't know if it was Vedder and Stapp that same voice, but
That's generation too.
I loved it. Yeah, exactly. That generation, exactly.
Does Eddie know that he was your walk-up song?
Bro, you know what? When I first hung out with Ed, 2008, like overnight, I said to him, I said, hey man, we were in the batting cage in Seattle one night. It was me, Theo Epstein, and this guy named Mikey Reinhold, great dude, was the trainer. We went one night late. It was George Webb and Ed, and we went in. We were having a good time. And then he had a batting cage, and we ended up hitting in the batting cages. It was incredible, like really cool night. But I told Ed the story, and I said, hey man, I said, I just want to let you know, like when I was growing up and I was hitting in the cages like every single day, I used to listen to only 2 albums. I used to listen to the 10 album from Pearl Jam and Back in Black AC/DC. And I would just hit until that album was over. And I would just shoot balls left center, you know, and when I would come out, so it would be like 3 buckets, something like that, 4 buckets, you know. And so I told him, I said, you know, and one of the big reasons my walk-up song is Even Flow, because of those times in the cages when I was like, 17, 18, 19 years old, all those times at Richmond, all that stuff. So anyway, we go back to so the 10 Club, if you're a Pearl Jam fan, the 10 Club is the big club that you're part of it. So he's like, okay, so let me show you this one thing. Dude, we walk back, Chinch. It's like we were at a bank. There was this humongous vault. I mean, huge walk-in vault. Like you would be like, like freaking Point Break. You know what I mean? Like you're stealing a place. Patrick Swayze, you walk in, you're like, there's no money, but there's basically there's basically millions of dollars in there. It's dude, Pearl Jam's, they're genius. They did bootlegs from every show they ever did. So, dude, he goes back to this vault. Ed goes back to this vault. He's walking around. Top left corner, never forget. He goes up, gets up, boom, pulls down this huge tape. And he goes, this is the first ever recording of Even Flow.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was like, are you serious? He goes, yeah, it was like, and then whatever. He's like, this is 1991. And first time we ever played it. And I was like holding that tape going, wow, this is really cool. But that was an experience. So that's my walk-up song was Even Flow. And then to connect with Ed and, developed a friendship with him. And it's what's so funny with that, dude, is sometimes the manifestation of life, dude, when he was growing up in his bedroom, he had posters like Springsteen, The Who, and he became great friends with them. It's just amazing how life turns out that way. Amazing.
I'm going to spin this with her. I was actually going to say, for me, I was going to say, what would your walk-up song be today with new music that's out right now?
With new music?
I think I know what mine would be. I was driving, picking up cat food for Stu today, and I heard it. You know this Benson Boone guy?
No, never heard of him.
What? Beautiful Things? Please stay. I want you, I need you.
Yeah, I know that song, yeah.
And then please.
Yeah.
That's what mine would be. That was my whole point to this, but you told a much better story than I was about to. Anyway.
Yeah, Ed Vedder in the Pearl Jam vault.
That's a decent
better
story.
than you with Bobby Boone in your car.
It's Benson Boone. Anyway, okay. We promised you all today we were going to talk MVP and Cy Young candidates early. I'm actually going to go to this. Our fans chimed in big time, Case.
Nice.
So let's.
I love that when the fans chime in.
Yes, great job on YouTube.
Yeah, thank you.
Love it. And we pay attention. We send each other. When you guys write something nice about Sean, I send it to him. So feel free to write something nice about him whenever you want. And and
you too, Chich. I like when nice things
are
written about you.
I get a nice thing. Our boy Lauren always says the nicest things.
Lauren's locked in.
Yeah. All right. So, you go and then I'll read some fan stuff after. Let's start in the American League because I think.
No, why don't you read the fan stuff now? So that we could go off that.
Okay, let's do that then. Okay, here's a bunch. Kevin Kelly 9996. Thank you, Kevin. MVP National League Fernando Tatis.
Ooh.
Or Pete Crow-Armstrong. American League Outside the Box. He says Scooble Realistic Shot. He mentioned Bobby Witt Jr. Wait, what is he talking about? American League.
Yeah,
Bobby Witt Jr. Cal Raleigh. Alex Bregman, he's mentioning. They're not playing well, but he is putting up numbers. Cy Young in an NL for him was Robbie Ray. He's got that 7-0.
Love Robbie Ray.
And he said Scooble in the AL. Oh, he put Scooble twice. Boom! My takes coming in hot. Kevin in Castro Valley, California. I like that, Kevin. Good job. This guy says something. This is Lauren. Wow, that's funny. Our boy Lauren. What's up, Lauren?
What'd Lauren say?
He says, I'm not talking Ohtani. I would say Freddie Freeman in the NL for MVP. And he's saying Bobby Witt in the AL already for AL, but I think
Lauren, I like your take there. I mean, I like Freddie Freeman's numbers are ridiculous. Way over 1,000 OPS. What is he hitting? 350 something. I mean,
yes.
hitting for average, hitting for power, doing all that stuff. So yeah, that's impressive. Bobby Witt Jr., man. I think at the end of it, I wouldn't say right now he's MVP. But I would say at the end of this thing, we could be looking at that. But there also is a guy named Aaron Judge out there in New York who's hitting close to 400.
Yes.
So,
yeah, here we go. Let's see what else we got. Another guy. This is Zach Goldstein. He's got Pete Crow-Armstrong in the NL. What he's doing is fantastic, and he's on pace for one of the best seasons ever. Good point. Let's start there. Let's stop there. I want to hear some Sean Casey hot takes on the season.
Dude, let's start right there with Pete Crow-Armstrong. Who said that? Who's our guy?
Pete Crow-Armstrong. Oh, I already got out of it. Pete Crow-Armstrong.
Back in.
Oh, so I'm going to tell him.
We had 3 Kevins and a
This
Lauren.
is Zach Goldstein. What up, Zach?
Zach Goldstein. Nice job, Zach. I agree, man. I think Pete Crow-Armstrong, all I know is no one at the beginning of this year
was saying Pete Crow-Armstrong.
At the end of May, Pete Crow-Armstrong is the NL MVP front runner. You know what I mean? I mean, all he's done is steal bases, hit for power, hit for average, big hits, make plays in center. I mean, this guy has done everything that you could ask a player to do. You look at his numbers. He has a 145 OPS plus. He's on pace. He's on pace to post a 40-40 season. I mean, just some of the stuff he's doing, Chinch, has been incredible. And like I said, I don't think anybody would have thought PCA.
I'll tell you who wasn't. The New York Mets, when they made that trade.
Ooh!
It could go down as one of the all-timers.
Javi Baez, rental Javi Baez for 2 months for Pete Crow-Armstrong. I told you, when that deal was made, I coached Pete Crow in a high school All-American game a few years back, and he was my leadoff hitter. I'm like, this kid's going to be a stud. He was the nicest kid, too. And then when they traded him, I was like, ooh, that's going to come back to haunt the Mets. I really felt that. Knowing that Baez was a rental, too.
Yes, that's the thing. I mean, they weren't guaranteed. And then Baez, kind of went in a tank a little bit.
He didn't do that great. Yeah.
That is a tough one.
That's a tough one to swallow.
I like the Freddie Freeman talk a little bit because, dude, like you said, he's putting those numbers up. But Shohei is putting up some pretty ridiculous numbers, too, dude. He's hitting 296. He's got 20 bombs, 35 ribbies.
Yeah.
He's got 11 stolen bases. He's got 59 runs already.
Yeah, and also don't forget really quick, just threw to live hitters the other day. Curveball, split fingers. Like by the way, he's a pitcher too. By the way, he's one of the best pitchers in baseball, and the Dodgers haven't had to use him yet because they have some really good pitching too. But they're banged up. Glass now's down.
Whole pitching staff.
Who's the lefty? Why I can't remember his name. Yeah, one of the best lefties in the game.
Why am I Clayton Kershaw?
No, come on. He won the Cy Young last year for the Giants.
Oh. Why am I forgetting his name now, too? It's a short name.
Blake Snell.
What's wrong with this?
Blake Snell. Blake Snell's down. I think I think the Dodgers are looking at this going, we actually need Ohtani now. Because I think they were slow playing at the beginning of the year. Like, hey, he's not going to throw to hitters. He's just throwing flat ground. And I think as the injuries have mounted up, they're like, all right, we need this guy. Actually need him. And, like I said, Chin, hit his 20th bomb last night. 35 stakes. Probably should have more than that, but he's leading off, over 1,000 OPS. One of the best hitters in the game. 11 stolen bases, blah, 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 blah. And he's about to come back as a starter. And I actually think with that internal brace and the time he's had off, it's been a while, dude. It's been a long time. They're slow playing him coming back. I think he's going to be ready to go, hit the ground running. I think you're going to see filth.
Yeah, and they think they're going to hold him out until, have him start, right after the All-Star break, or maybe one start
Really?
for the All-Star break.
Jeez.
Yeah, but you know what? Do they really need him at the moment?
Not
You get
really.
second
No.
second half run. You got to
Right. It's almost like you just went and traded for one of the best starters in the game.
trade for yeah, that's a great point. Now in the American League, look, I mean, I'm sorry, little hometown bias for me, but I don't care. Aaron Judge is a freak of nature.
Dude, it's not even hometown bias. It's almost a joke how good this guy is. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, last season, Judge's 218 weighted runs created plus ranked as the 7th best in the modern era in the NL or AL, which is incredible. 2025, though, Chinch, he has a chance to take over Barry Bonds' 2002 record of 244. He's leading the AL in all three slash categories: homers, RBIs, hits, and runs. And he's close to hitting 400 right now.
He popped over it with his first hit last night. He popped over 400.
Oh, did he? And
he dropped back down, obviously, but like, dude, his last his last week or so, he's been hitting 425, which is he's creeping, dude. He's creeping.
I honestly, I'm very proud to say this because I have this thing downstairs. I hit a home run against the Marlins in 2004. So whatever, it shows the leaders, and it's like June 4th, and I'm hitting 394 on June 4th. I mean, that's pretty incredible when I look back. But I look back at that time and thinking, dude, you have to go 2 for 5 every night for it to stay there.
Dude,
you're 1 for 3 at falls.
Yeah, and dude, your head is just constantly doing math, right? The entire time. I remember one of the greatest moments of my career, one of my first years at ESPN, I was just a production assistant, and we had Tony Gwynn was doing a couple studio shows.
Oh.
First time I've ever been really starstruck in my life because I was sitting next to him.
Yeah.
Somebody was up in the 370s or something like that, or 380s, and they were like, Tony, chasing 400. And he broke it down. I don't even have the capacity in my mind to explain how he was like, yeah, but here, so when you get to June, with that cool accent,
you get to June.
Yeah, you get to June and it's like blah, blah, blah. And then he goes, but when you get to like August and September, he started doing the math of like what you had to do every at bat. And like, you could get up here and then you could be going 2 for 4 and your average, you probably would be hurting yourself. And he was doing like the math to the at bat. Like, oh, he said he would go up to the plate and be like, all right, if I get a hit here, that's like 0.2 of a percentage point, whatever. And he said, how hard it is that second half of the season when the needle doesn't move.
Right.
Because you have all the hits in your bag and all the at bats in your bag, and now, first half of the season you go 3 for 5, you can raise your average a couple. The point system goes different, right? It goes from like, oh, here comes 1 batting average point, and now second half of the season it's like a half a batting average point, right. And if you go 0 for 4, you drop down and you start getting into like
it doesn't move if you're like 3 for 5, doesn't really move, but if you're over 4, it drops a little further.
Crazy.
It's incredible, dude. And also, I want to stay there for one quick second because I was thinking about this because my daughter Jillian asked me last night. She was like, Dad, have anyone ever hit 1,000? I go, no. She's like, 700? I go, no, Jillian, you got to get all the way down to 400. And Ted Williams did it way back in the day. But I was like, there was a guy that almost did it in 1994, and Gwynn thinks he would have done it.
Yes,
in 94, he had he was hitting 394.
Yes.
394. And he said he was so locked in, like you said, he had the math to his mind. He said he was so locked in where he was. He says he really thinks he would have hit 400 that year because just how he felt and everything like that. So even to think about that, and dude, don't forget, I believe it was in 1980, George Brett hit 390. Mm-hmm. 390, dude, for a season. George Brett, so I'm just saying, dude, to see Judgy doing what he's doing, going into June here, we're 2 months in, and dude, he's right up there in home runs. I mean, he's 19. He's 1 behind Ohtani.
That's the thing. The power average combo is unbelievable.
And Williams had that. Ted Williams had that. And dude, Gwynn, I'll tell you a quick story at first base. Tony Gwynn one time come to first base. He had walked his first at bat, homered, came to first. No, homered, came to first. He singled. So homer, single, comes to first. I'm like, bro. And I looked up. Gwynn was hitting 308. I'm like, it's not typical Tony Gwynn, but I'm like, maybe he's getting into the power game. Maybe he's starting to get the ball a little more out front. I'm like, Tony, how you doing, man? Way to swing it, bro. Dude, he was like depressed. And he goes, man, Case, I'm really struggling right now. I go, what? You're struggling right now? He goes, when I'm hitting 2 home runs in a game, he goes, I'm not exactly where I want to be. I'm like, wow. And he probably ended up hitting 340 that year or something like that.
Right.
But a guy like Gwynn, he wanted to be more of a 330 to 350 hitter, more of a 350 hitter than he wanted to hit home runs. And some guys are like, and dude, I must admit, I was like that. I wanted to hit 3-something. I wanted to show up every night, and I wanted to do damage. I did an 814 career OPS, so I was damaged. Doubles are damage. You hit the balls in the gaps.
Sure.
If you're splitting the gaps, you got the power to get in the gaps. So doubles are damage. And then people would say, I remember one of the guys from the front office, Brad Coleman, comes down one day. He's like, dude, what if you hit 270 and ran into some more home runs? I'm like, listen, John Olerud, they tried to do that to John Olerud in Toronto. And when sometimes they told me that in Cincinnati, do this, I'm like, no, I want to be a great hitter first. And if I'm a great hitter, I'm going to hit the ball in the ballpark. I'm going to hit the balls in the gaps, right? If I'm shooting for that 300 mark, I think that's why that mark is so important for hitters. When people are like, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it matters. It shows that you're consistent. It shows that you hit good pitching. It shows that you hit closers. It shows that you hit number 1 and number 2 starters. But I also said to myself, you got to be who you want to be too. You got to be what your identity is as a hitter. And for me, it was like, I wanted to be a 330 guy. I wanted to be a guy that posted every night and got knocks. And I look at Judgy, dude, watch Aaron Judge. A lot of his balls are to right field. I'd love to figure out what the breakdown is on that. Right. But he's hitting a lot of balls on the ground to right field. His pull side in the air is as low as it's ever been this year. I think it's down 10%. His ground balls to right are up 10%. So stuff like that, that's what great hitters do. So it's impressive, man. There's so many ways to go here, but when you're talking George Brett and Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams and Aaron Judge, now you're talking about elite hitters in the game that are doing stuff that's different,
Yeah, dude, I got a great one. This is one of my favorite statistical seasons of all time. It's when Keith Hernandez won the MVP. Keith Hernandez, career 162 home runs. He never hit more than 18 in a season. He hit one year. How about this? His MVP year, he hit 344. He had 11 home runs. Okay. How about 105 ribbies? That's what I'm talking about. Wow. 105 ribbies with 11 home runs. That means you are at an elite level offensively.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
48 doubles, to your point.
48 doubles. Dude, Keith Hernandez should be in Cooperstown, too, and revolutionized that position. He played first base like a shortstop would play, was so legit. But, yeah, dude, driving in runs. The name of the game is run production, dude. How many runs can you drive in? How many runs can you score at the end of the day? So, what are you doing for your team? Keith Hernandez driving 105 runs with 40-plus doubles and 11 home runs. Would you rather have a guy that drives in 78 runs with 30 home runs and because he's hit home runs, or would you rather have a guy that guys get on base, this guy's driving you in?
Yeah, that's the one thing I hated about the analytic revolution, which has turned out now we have the good balance, right? But remember when oh my goodness, when they started hardcore with the analytics and everybody was saying RBIs don't mean anything, it's a team stat, it's not an individual stat. You hate that, don't you?
Dude, you know why I hate it, dude? Because when guys get on base, has anyone that says that ever been in the box when the energy and the adrenaline rush in situations, the stuff that goes through your head, like, oh man, I got to come through here. Then you got to talk to yourself and be like, no, you don't. You got to stick with the process. I got to get a deep breath. I got to hunt the fastball, look middle away, react in, try to drive something left center, get on the heater, stay aggressive early, have no fear. And I love that about the brain. Your brain can't think of gratitude and fear at the same time. So you get to that mindset of opportunity. What an opportunity I have here, as opposed to, oh man, I hope I don't fail. Dude, do you know how many guys don't hit with runners in scoring position because the fear mongrel comes in and that lion that you think's in the other room is too big for you? And I always say, hey, listen, you gotta believe when you open that door, it's a mouse with a megaphone. Not a lion in there. A lot of times we think things are bigger than they are. You got to be able to tame that monster with runners in scoring position. So when people say it's just the team's stat, RBIs, guys get on base, stop it, because not everybody hits well with guys on base. And there's a reason that the same dudes drive in 100-plus runs every single year. And you go, why aren't other guys driving in 100 runs? I bet you they have opportunities. Yeah, they can't do it.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, one of my favorite things ever when I was a younger kid playing, I was about second, and I wasn't a home run hitter, and I had a contact bat, runner on third, less than 2 outs, ground ball to the second base. If the infield's back, run scores. That is one of the purest, sexiest things in baseball to me.
Dude, that's so great, dude. it just jarred my memory in another story. I asked Junior one time, Ken Griffey Jr., I think Junior is arguably the greatest player to ever play the game. If you go back and look at his numbers, when he first came to Cincinnati in 2000, he was Jordan. Dude, he was the best in the business. And you look up at Griffey's numbers, like 140, 150, driving it. I mean, dude, he's driving almost a run a game, 50 pumps, never, no steroids ever. I promise you. I saw him with his shirt off. No steroids ever. You know what I mean? This guy could just flat out rake. And one thing I asked him, dude, how do you drive in 120 a year? It's tough to get to 100. How do you drive in 120? He said, how do I drive to 120? Ground ball to second. That's what he said. That's what he said. Ken Griffey Jr., you think he's just trying to go deep? He goes, making sure that guy on third comes in, hit a nice ground ball to second, he comes in. That's how you drive in 120. I got the chills saying that. So that's a great story, Chinch, because not only is Rich Cinchamino saying it, but Ken Griffey Jr. is saying it. When I asked him, when I thought he was going to say, try and drive that ball out of the ballpark, that's how you do it. No, you ground ball to second with the guy on third, make sure he comes in.
Yeah, if you have a little kid out there and you go to go to the Yankee game or something like that, you go to the Pirates game and you see, I remember doing this when I was a litlittle kid. The guy hits a ground ball, runs, scores, and then when he gets to the dugout, you go, Daddy, why is everybody giving him a high five? He got out. That's why.
Yeah.
Because he sacrificed himself for the good of the team.
Dude, because he played the game right. And I always say the baseball gods, or whatever you want to say, the baseball gods come out. When you do the things right as a player, get the guy over, get a bunt down, get the ball in the air, a sac fly, make sure when you're on base, get good secondaries, score from first with balls in the gap. When you're on second base in a single, get the big secondary where you score for that guy that maybe that's that 100th run that he's, you're playing for your teammates. When you play the game right, you're playing for your teammates. I must admit, I'm telling my son, Jake, all the time with the speed he has, and even I was taught this way too, and I did it a few times too, is like when you hit a ball to the outfield and that outfielder's lollygagging it, run right in his face. Run right in his face. Get to second base so that next guy coming up can get a knock and get a steak for himself and feel good after the game. So there's a way to play this game. And, the guys that we're talking about, PCA, the way he plays the game, Judgy, the way he plays the game, like these guys are great teammates. These guys are, these guys want to pass the baton to the next guy.
Love it. I love it. All right. Let's get into this super quick. We got a couple guys to talk about here. Cy Young Awards, dude. Cy Young Award in the American League, you got Fried, who is dominating for the Yankees. You got Skubal, who's throwing his last pitch of a shutout at 103 miles per hour.
Right, incredible.
But there's somebody else that's on your radar.
Yeah, dude, the guy in Kansas City, dude, Chris Bubik. Guy's an absolute stud, dude. He's got a 1.45 ERA through 11 starts, has been absolutely lights out, getting a chance to get in that rotation. I mean, I don't think we're not paying a ton of attention to the Royals and stuff, but if you're paying attention to what's going on in the race for Cy Young, Chris Bubik pops right out as being one of the best pitchers in the game. It's been pretty impressive, what he's been doing.
Also impressive. Hey, let's make him a starter. He's 27 years old, and then boom, pop, pow. He's
boom. Yeah, exactly. Some people emerge a little later. They start understanding how to pitch it, and sometimes when guys are out of the pen, look at a guy like Jeff Weaver. Jeff Weaver? No, Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver closing for the Yankees. Bro, the guy was a starter, ups and downs as a starter, but he learned how to pitch. Now when he can go max effort for one inning, he's nasty.
Yeah, it's great. National League is very interesting too. I'm pulling up some stats right now that I didn't realize he was doing as well. Dude, Zach Wheeler's 6-1 with a 2.42, second in Major League Baseball with 88 strikeouts, dude.
Yeah. Well, dude, here's the deal. When you look at the Phillies, you go, oh, why are they the best team in baseball? And I tell you what, I keep looking at their lineup, but the reason they have the two best starters in the game. Did you know Jesus Luzardo traded over for the Marlins, one of the best players in the game right now with what he's doing, absolutely dominating. ERA through 10 starts, 1.46, tops in the NL. Good job, Dave Dombrowski, of going to get power arms. Dave's known for just getting the power arms. Bam, you go get Jesus Luzardo. You got Wheeler sitting in the numbers. So you got the 1 and 2 best starters in the game in your rotation in Philly. And then you still got Ranger Suarez. You still got Sanchez. You still got Nola, who hasn't even got it going yet. So, I mean, you got to look at Luzardo and Wheeler at the top. Skeens is doing his thing. Yamamoto's been nasty, but Kodai Senga out there in New York, he's back and doing his thing with the Mets. So and Robbie Ray. Those are the top 6 guys right there. Robbie Ray has been dominant too for the Giants. So that's been a fun race so far too. And then you talked about it too, Max Fried and those guys in the AL. But those right now when you're looking, that's your MVP Cy race.
I like your Senga pull too because he's only 5-3. Which, hey, Mets, do you want to win that division when he's got a 1.46 ERA and has 3 losses? Let's clean it up and
Right. Let's go, guys. Let's get your act together.
Yeah. All right. Great stuff today, dude. I'm gonna go put my 10 album on and do scores.
Even flow.
Here goes.
I know where the first copy of Even Flow is. I have to go see if I can get in that vault.
You're not getting in that vault. You got to put the president's mask on, like
no one's getting in that vault, dude.
Utah. Give me 2.
Utah. Give me 2. Great movie right there. Point Break.
All right, Stu's saying goodbye here.
All right, Stu, you take care. Chinchy, I love you, man. Everyone out there, appreciate you listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this show today. I really enjoyed this show. I think it's good stuff going on. When you can talk Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams, George Brett, that's good stuff. Throw those in the conversation. See you guys tomorrow. Love you, bro.